from Better Vantage Point and Tuck the Octopus. So part of tucking the octopus so that all the tentacles aren't flopping out when you're at a business or a dealership is making sure you have the right insurance. This is a big topic, and my phone's been ringing, talking about what kind of insurance you should have to protect yourself. And so today I just want to talk about insurance. I'm happy to answer questions afterwards, so feel free to reach out. I have my stack of documents here because I like giving you statistics. I like giving you very specific information so that you have it and you can use it. And I want to talk very specifically, after I read you a few statistics, on how to have your insurance renewal not be so frustrating. So we're gonna focus on that for a few minutes while we talk about it. So a recent survey, which just came out about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a company called Gallagher, revealed that 80% of business owners fear their insurance policies may not cover specific losses, including extreme weather, cyber attacks, of course, which is on all our minds because of the CDK breach, and that business owners generally have a growing anxiety. So three of the key findings: 80% of business owners are worried their business insurance will not cover a specific loss. 91% of respondents are concerned about the impact of extreme weather conditions or natural disasters. 69% of business owners are concerned about cyber attacks, yet only 32% have cyber coverage. So if you have questions about cyber coverage, you're one of those 69%, or one of the 32%, I should say, who don't have cyber coverage. Start now, pick up the phone and call me. I'm all over the internet. You can look at on LinkedIn. You can reach me on Facebook. My phone number is 757-434-7656. Feel free to pick up the phone and just call me. I won't charge you for the call. But you really should have cyber insurance. It's really something to talk about. I'm going to have a whole nother video specifically about cyber insurance, but I wanted to start with that. Now, don't get a case of the yets. I call it a case of the yet. It hasn't happened to me yet. I haven't had that problem yet. I don't want you to get a case of the yets. Consider something outside the automotive industry. Consider the ship Dali that hit the Francis Scott Key Bridge. This is a case where they had a tremendous amount of coverage. I believe it was $3.1 billion of coverage they have available. The ship was built in 2015, and according to an article that I read from the Wall Street Journal, the ship had more than 20 port state control inspections, according to data from Equisys. And so it was a 9-year-old ship when this happened. It had 20 port state control inspections. So think about that. That's 2 inspections per year, which sounds like a lot to me, just as a layperson. And so, their thinking was perhaps that this wasn't going to be a problem. And of course, whenever you have something that could be a catastrophic problem, it's not something that we typically think about. And so I'm going to encourage you to examine your business, examine your dealership, walk through it, try to think of what the worst case scenarios would be, and see if you have enough insurance. Here's a good one that I like to make sure. It's one of the first things I sit down with the dealer. I have them do this mathematical equation. So if you take your land in your building, your equipment, the used vehicle inventory that you own for cash, your parts inventory, and your blue sky, if you put all that add all that up, and it's going to run somewhere between $20 and $30 million, depending on the size of your store and whether you're in a metro area or not. So go now take a look at your umbrella insurance. And if you don't have the same amount of umbrella insurance that you feel like your business is worth, then you are exposed by that amount. So by that, I mean, if you have $5 million of liability insurance and you have a parts driver who gets in a wreck and has a catastrophic accident. Someone is killed, someone is maimed. It's something very bad. And you have $5 million, which I see this all the time, and your business is worth $25 million, then you've got a $20 million gap that's not being covered by insurance. And I want to make sure you understand that that's why you need that liability insurance. So consider what the value of your ongoing enterprise is worth, and consider having an umbrella in that amount. The most interesting thing before we get to how to make your insurance renewal not so frustrating, when we're talking about this shipping accident, is within a 30-mile radius, there were 3,200 factories, warehouses, or distribution centers that use the port. The port's closure could disrupt shipments of 7,000 parts or components and 3,300 finished products. So all of those businesses that were around the port, and the port's open now again, as you know, but all those businesses around the port have hopefully considered business interruption insurance. Because if they didn't have business interruption insurance, when the port was closed for this number of months, they didn't have any income if they couldn't produce their products. And if they didn't have the business interruption insurance, then they didn't have any income during that time frame. So similarly with the CDK cyber attack, and I'm going to have a whole different conversation about cyber for another time, but consider whether, if you have third-party coverage, then you have coverage if a third party that you use is affected, like CDK. So these are important issues. So let's talk about insurance renewals. So how do you make your insurance renewal not so crazy? And there are good brokers and there are bad brokers, but in any event, a broker should be able to, in most instances, a broker should be able to get you your renewal quote within 60 days of your renewal. So, and you just tell them that you're not going to consider any insurance quotes that run in at the last minute. And one of the ways to do this, to ensure that this happens, is you spread your renewals throughout the year instead of having them all on one day, where in my opinion, the human mind can't conceive of so many items to review in one day when you have your garage and your workers' comp and your physical damage on your vehicles, and maybe you have a pollution policy, and maybe you have a directors and officers policy. All these things, there are so many components to it that the brain can't conceive of it. So one of the things I recommend is you spread those renewals throughout the year so that you can calmly and quietly renew those insurance policies, review them, read through the exclusions, have an opportunity to get different quotes from different insurance companies, have your broker compare them. These are all very important things that will help you to keep things calmer, instead of the broker running in a week before the renewal and saying, we only got an 18% increase this time. This is a more calm way to do it. Again, I'm glad to help. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. With that in mind, just a couple more things on cyber, actually. Automotive News had reported in 2022, on an average day, 153 viruses, 84 spam emails are blocked by technology at dealer groups. 84% of surveyed customers say they wouldn't buy another car from a dealership if their data had been compromised. And the FTC had reported 38,561 reported cases of identity theft related to auto loans in the year of 2019. Just a couple more things on cyber. I will have a separate one, video on cyber. Data breaches are happening all the time. There have been multiple groups recently that have had cyber attacks. One in Utah, Jeff Weiler early this year, Berglund Automotive, Coons. Those are 4 that I can name off the top of my head. Just be aware that this is a problem and it's an ongoing problem. And maybe you've heard this mathematical equation before. If not, let me just take a minute and explain it to you. So people ask, how much cyber insurance? Well, one of the things to consider is how many names do you have in your DMS and in your CRM combined. An average number I get for somewhere between a mid-sized dealership is between 200 and 400,000 names. So let's just say there's 200,000. If there's 200,000 names and there's a cyber attack and you have a breach and you have to remediate, part of what dealerships and businesses generally do for remediation is they offer credit monitoring, and credit monitoring is about $100 a year for a customer. So assume you have 200,000 names, assume 100,000 customers sign up for that. That's $10 million. That doesn't include any penalties, any federal agencies which might penalize you. It doesn't include any defense costs, any public relations costs, any restoration costs, all those costs baked in. So when you're considering those cyber limits, really do think about that scenario and what you think about that scenario and whether you think $10 million is enough, maybe $5 million is enough. It all depends on your risk tolerance. People ask me what the right amount is, and I can give them an opinion, but this is all based on risk toleration. You may say it's never going to happen to me and I don't need cyber insurance. You're the entrepreneur, and that's your decision to make. So I just want to make sure you have the information to make those decisions. And with that, that's the brief today on insurance. Again, please reach out if you have any questions. My email address, feel free to email me, Tom K, as in Tom Kline, Tom K at bettervantagepoint.com, or my phone number, 757-434-7656. Or again, you can reach me on social media through Facebook, through LinkedIn, or any number of channels. So I'm Tom Kline, and we're going to take this a quick message from our sponsor, and wishing you good luck, and make sure you are tucking the octopus. Take care.